Okay, today I just wanted to show everybody how I make my beer soap. I'm going to put a link down below with a link to my Etsy shop if you want to purchase it. This is a recipe that I found that I sort of modified. First I start off by lining my mold, and these molds I've made myself a couple of years ago, and I just line them with parchment paper every time I use them, and they go together and I can adjust the width. Okay, moving on. This is the part where I add the beer to the lye. So what I do is let the beer go flat overnight, and then I measure it out and I add the water mixture to the beer. Then I pop those into a tray and I let them freeze overnight. Part of the reason that I do this is so one, the carbonated bubbles, since it's flat, won't, react with the lye when I add the lye in. I won't get any stinky odors. If the beer gets too hot, basically the lye will burn the beer and destroy all the beneficial properties that you want when you're adding beer into your soap. So I just always recommend, like I said, popping it in the freezer the night before, letting it turn into ice cubes, and then it makes it really easy to melt down. Since the lye has heat, it's going to, as you can see, melt pretty quickly. So that's always what I do with beer. And you can use any kind of beer. For this one I used Angry Orchard. It's just what I use when I add the apple fragrance, and something that I keep in my Etsy shop. So here's the part where I have my oils. I've measured these out ahead of time. I'm also going to use titanium dioxide, a little bit of green coloring, and also with the titanium dioxide I'm going to put red jojoba beads so it gives it a nice exfoliation. I also have the Applejack peel fragrance from Brambleberry. It's one of my favorites. I have another video on that, and I can put a link for that as well. So now that I have all the oils measured out, I'm going to add my lye. I usually try to pour it on my stick blenders to kind of minimize any bubbles that are going to come from pouring. So let's see. And then once I add the lye, I just mix it to a light trace. Since I'm using that Applejack fragrance, it tends to speed up and accelerate the soap, so I want to keep it at a lighter trace. Okay, now I'm going to divide up my soap a little bit so I can do the different colors. And like I said, for this one, I am definitely going to add the red jojoba beads. They are much better than anything like micro beads. I don't use any of that in my soap. The jojoba beads will melt down with heat, so when you're taking a shower and you have that warm water, they will actually melt down. They won't clog your drain. So again, that's why I love jojoba beads. So keep those in your soap. And then I'm going to also pull off a little bit more and mix in the green coloring. First, let's add the fragrance oil to the soap itself, and I kind of hand stir it in to help prevent like the ricing that I was talking about and the acceleration, because this fragrance is like a spicy fragrance a little bit. It's apple like spice, and a lot of spicy fragrances tend to accelerate. So again, mixing it, kind of hand mixing it, not using the stick blender. Pour a little bit down. As you can see, it's already starting to thicken up. And this is a little bit different design than what I normally do. So we're gonna see how it turns out today. I'll have a picture of the cut, or not a picture, part of the video of the final cut at the end, if you want to see how it turns out. And see, this is what I'm talking about, my mold. The sides can move, which is kind of nice, because if I have too much or too little soap, I can just kind of move the sides around as I need it, so I can make sure I'm getting the correct height of my soap bars. And it's just some 2x4s that I had them cut down at Home Depot to be the right size to make my mold, and then some long screws on the edge there. So I'm doing 2 batches of it today, so that's why you see me like pouring everything twice and shaking it and make sure everything is even and flat. Get every bit of it that you can into the soap mold. I hate wasting soap, so you just see me scraping it all out and getting it into the mold. And it looks like applesauce. Perfect for the apple fragrance soap. That's what I mean though by like the ricing and stuff. It's fine, nothing wrong with your soap. You can still use it. It's just kind of a cosmetic thing, and like I said, it sets up a little bit quicker. So try to do a little bit of spreading that out on the top to make it look a little bit like a design. Also, I always spray all my soaps with rubbing alcohol when I'm done. I don't think I showed this in the video, but I spray them all down just to prevent soda ash. This is after it's cured for 24 hours, and I go ahead and use my soap stamp. Sometimes I wait, almost 2 days before I actually use the stamp because the soap might be a little bit soft. It just kind of depends on the recipe. And I'll put a link in the description about where I got the stamp. I did my own custom artwork, and I sent it to this guy on Etsy, and he made me a nice heavy acrylic stamp. And it took me a long time to find one that I like, so I definitely recommend him. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting more like this soon. Thanks for watching.